Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Nerdy Rich here on the Nerdy Rich channel. So, I have to do this call to action. I know, it's annoying. Another YouTuber telling us that I know. Before you even start watching whatever video this is, whether the gameplay, reviews, what if, whatever the topic is, please go and subscribe. Subscribing is super important. It's free. You just hit the button, you hit all, and then whenever I drop a new video, you will see it, because it's a great way for you guys to see my content. Especially, I'm gonna be growing a lot throughout the new year, and I would love for you guys to be there for my journey at this YouTube channel. So I will definitely see you guys in the new year. So comment, rate, like the video, share the video with everybody, and I will catch you guys then. Alright, what is up, everybody? It's your boy Nerdy Rich here, back on the Nerdy Rich channel, and we are back for the second movie of the sequel trilogy, being Star Wars The Last Jedi. And ooh, baby, this one is the most controversial movie out of the three. And the reason why this one was controversial, because not only did they not bring back J.J. Abrams with another director, and the director saw the outline that J.J. Abrams had for the next director to continue on with the story. So if he does decide to come back for the third one, he'll be able to just pick up from when this movie left off and then finish out the trilogy. But of course, the new director took that, ripped it up, and decided to just make his own story out of it. And the funny part is, if the director was able to just have his own private Star Wars movie of his own, I think it would have been a good film, because there are some good parts about this film I do like, but there's a lot of things in this movie I don't like. So let's go to the story. So the story of the movie is, so spoilers for The Force Awakens, they were Skywalker, Rey goes to him so she can get training, and we pick up right where the scene where Rey gives Luke the lightsaber, and Luke takes the lightsaber, which, if I remember right, it's I think it's his father's lightsaber, so it's Anakin's lightsaber. He looks at it and then immediately chucks it over his, behind his back, and then walks off. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck? Like, why is he doing that? And then, of course, they later explain why. Because of something that happened between him and who, of course, in the spoilers from the last movie too, we find out that Kylo Ren is the son of Han and Leia. So, of course, Luke was training him to become a Jedi. But, of course, something happened between them, and it caused Luke to not want to train anybody else, because he's afraid of somebody else going down the same dark path that Kylo did, and he swore to never train somebody again. And of course, Rey, throughout the first half of the movie, is trying to convince him to train him, because she even said, like, hey, you need to train me. Jedi in the Rebel army, just like they had when you was in the original one back when you took on the Empire, like your father was back during the Clone Wars. You know, we need Jedis to help. He's like, we don't need Jedis, because we cause way more problems than we do help. And for the most part, I do agree with Luke, because Luke is right. Jedi has caused a lot of problems throughout the galaxy for the whole history of Star Wars. But it's also because of the Sith as well, but they caused a lot of problems. And so I do understand that sentiment, but at the same time, that's not Luke. But I'll talk more in details of that when we get to the character portion. So as that's going on, the rebels are being hunted down by the First Order. They're finally able to capture they was able to chase after their main ship. A lot of their other ships were able to escape. So now Leia and the rest of the team are trying to lead them away so that they can eventually regroup. But of course, they're constantly being every time they try to warp or get somewhere further, the First Order is right on them. So we later find out there's a tracking device that's able to track them down. So now they have to go and get the plans and all this other stuff to do it. So Finn and a new character named Rose, they end up going up to this planet to go find a hacker that could able to help them and that whole thing. And that is my least favorite scene in the movie. That whole segment was just so unnecessary because it literally it did accomplish something. They did manage to find the hacker and stuff like that, but they could have had it a little bit better. And it just really was about a big pile of nothing. And of course, as everything is going on with that, you have Kylo Ren, who of course is now he's talking to his master, being Snoke, who we saw in the first movie. Snoke is, of course, upset that he lost to Rey in the last movie, so of course he is sitting there to join the dark side, just like how with the Emperor tried to do with Luke back in the day. And of course, him and Rey had this connection where they could see each other thanks to the Force and stuff like that. So he's slowly trying to manipulate her to go to the dark side. And of course, eventually they do end up meeting back up together, and then they have the throne room scene with essentially the rebels. They're able to do their thing to finally able to continue on. But that's where the problem is this movie. It's just way too many plots going on. You have the Rey stuff that's going on, the Kylo and Rey stuff that's going on in the background. You have the people getting chased down by the First Order, so they're doing their thing, and then you have Finn and his group doing stuff. And my biggest thing is that it changed too much stuff that didn't need to be changed. The first thing I would have personally did was have Finn go with Rey to get trained by Luke. Because that makes more sense, because we saw in the first movie that Finn is not only able to use a lightsaber, he was force sensitive, so that would have made way more sense that, he goes with her. And, at first you could have Luke being, like, kind of standoffish to them because of everything that happened, but then he eventually starts warming up to them and then starts training them. And then, of course, you could still have Kylo trying to manipulate Rey to go into the dark side like the Snoke. And then, of course, that could lead us to so many interesting avenues and stuff like that. And then, even with the Rebels, you could have still had the First Order chasing them down. But instead of them having to, like, just find a hacker and stuff like that, they figure out a way within their own ship to figure out how to deal with them. And that could have been an interesting bunch of things you could have done that could have also set it up. And then, of course, you could still have it later on. Finn and Rey returns back and helps them out. But there's just a lot of things that could have been done to make this movie better. Overall, it's my least favorite film in the franchise. I don't hate it as much as everybody else used to. Like I said, there's a lot of good things in here. I love the Kylo and Rey stuff. That's literally the best part about the movie. And I like that we get more answers about Rey. I like that we get more answers about Kylo and his relationship with Luke. But that's mostly it. That's all the stuff I really like. Everything else I just don't care about. I don't care about the First Order and Rebel stuff. That just didn't really do anything. That whole planet heist thing in order to get this hacker, which is dumb. And then even how that ends up, like, that was pretty stupid. And yeah. And then the whole other thing within the ship with Poe and all that other stuff was pretty stupid as well. But overall, that's all I gotta say about the story. Let's get to the characters themselves. So, Rey in the last Star Wars: The Last Jedi, she is, after she managed to find Luke Skywalker, she's trying to get training from him so she can come back to the rebels so she can help take on Kylo and also Snoke and defeat the First Order. As she's trying to get Luke to help her out, Luke is jaded because of everything that happened with Kylo, because we find out who he truly is and how their relationship is. And throughout the whole movie, she's just trying to figure out who she truly is, because in the first movie, she was left on the planet she grew up on by her parents. They said they were going to come back. Obviously, they never came back. So she's trying to figure out who her parents were. And then throughout the entire movie, her and Kylo are starting to form their own bond in their relationship, because they have like a Force connection with each other, so they're able to see each other, able to communicate with each other. And of course, Kylo is trying to figure out who she truly is as well, so try to convince her to come over to the dark side to use that against her. And throughout the entire movie, she tries her best not to fall down this dark path that, many powerful Jedi's before her, many other people before her have done. And I like that throughout the movie, she is trying to convince Kylo to turn back to the good side as well. In this movie, she's okay. Like I do like her a bit more in this movie, but they really could have done a lot more with it. And I do like the answers and stuff they do give her for her backstory and stuff like that. And I wish that they stuck with this instead of what they're gonna do in the next movie with her, which really destroys the character. Because if they would have just continued with that and then fleshed it out more in the next movie, she could have easily been a much better character, at least a decent character from just an to okay at best type of character. And I like that this one, she's not picking up everything super fast like before. She's still learning. And even though Luke can clearly see that she is extremely powerful, he noticed that she is very sloppy and everything like that. And he at least tries to help her. And speaking of Luke, let's talk about Luke Skywalker himself. Luke Skywalker in this movie is... I do not like him in this movie at all. I get why Luke became the person that he is once they explain why, but I would have still preferred a little bit more the older Luke. He's jokey, a little bit playful, but he's also very serious and trying to train Rey. Like, he could easily have him where, he is a little scared at first, but as he trains more with her, he started to realize that Rey is nothing like Kylo. She's very different. She's kind of remind her of a younger version of himself. Or, that could have been a much interesting take to have. And of course, you could still have him where he doesn't want to join the war because, he's just tired of it. And he could explain, like, look, outside of just the Kylo stuff, I'm just tired of this war. I fought a whole war from the time I was a late teenager all the way up until my mid-20s. And I just spent so many years just trying to build everything up, and then I lost it all. And now I have to go back and fight another war. I'm just not into that. I'll train you so you can do it, so you can choose to become the hero like I was back in my day. That would have been such an interesting thing to do with his character, but instead he's just this cranky old master type that just don't want to train, don't want to help in this war. But of course Rey does soften him up a bit, and then of course he does have his iconic moment with Kylo in this movie. And I'm not a fan how they ultimately end up his story. I felt like they could have definitely did more with him. I mean, that's all I really gotta say. Next is Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren in this movie I like a lot. I like that throughout this movie he is constantly getting berated and he's getting shit talked to by his master Snoke because he lost to, of course, Rey in the previous movie. And he's like, look, you gotta get her on the dark side because we have you and her. We can literally control the galaxy. No one will be able to defeat us. And because he knows that Luke is Luke is just all doing his own thing, so they don't need to worry. And I like that throughout the movie he's trying to convince her to join the dark side, but also trying to have her question everything about everything that's been going on and trying to figure out who she truly is and trying to convince her to go to the dark side on her own free will. And I like that he's constantly conflicted himself because he wants to do good, but he also wants to stay to the dark side like his grandfather, which, spoilers, we do find out is Darth Vader. He wants to go down the same path as him because I guess his parents never told him the true story of Vader and how he became Vader in the first place, being Han and Leia and not even Luke himself. So he's just very conflicted throughout the entire movie, and I do like that they do a good job with that. Of course, the next one is Poe. Poe in this movie, I love a lot in this movie. I like that he's constantly challenging everybody from Leia, from the new captain that has to take over for Leia because something happens to Leia. And he's trying to get control of the ship in order for them to survive because the New Order is chasing them down everywhere they go. And they have no way to fully escape. And that's why Finn and a couple other characters have to do other things throughout the movie in order to give them a fighting chance. And I really do like that he's constantly just staying on their necks and hey, we gotta do this, we gotta do the right thing in order to help. And I like that Leia does, get on his ass about certain things, but she does understand why he is like that because he is kind of like Han and a mixture of her. So I love that about them. Leia in this movie, she doesn't really get to do a lot. They do sideline her very quickly. And I'm not a big fan of why they do that and how they do it. She gets sidelined for like the rest of the movie until like the last half, and then she finally comes back and help out again. But I do like her moment with Luke and how they finally get that one final conversation with each other. And I like that she does play a part into Ray, how she really treats Ray like a daughter and always trying to look out for her, and she still cares about her men and trying to do everything she can to help to defend the galaxy. And of course, we gotta talk about Finn. Finn in this movie, he's fine. I wish that they did. I wish that Ryan Johnson did continue on with J.J. Abrams setting him up. He was setting him up to be like another Jedi, and I wish that Finn did, want to get some training with Ray and Luke to become a Jedi, because I feel like that would have been a great thing to have a stormtrooper become a Jedi. But instead, they have him running around with a new character named Rose, and they go to try to stop the device that is tracking their ship, because every time they go into like hyperspace or they try to escape the New Order is able to catch up with them very quickly, so they have to go to this planet. And of course, they ultimately try to find this hacker and all this other stuff. And I like that he does get cool moments with like Phasma. He gets little cool moments here and there, but he's not really that developed as he should be. He should have definitely had a way better path he could have gone on, but they chose not to do it, and I do feel bad. And finally, there's only two more characters I want to talk about. Is Rose, the new character introduced in this movie. I do not like her. I mean, she's just a nothing character. She's there to help Finn in order to go and get the device they need and the hacker to order to stop the cloaking, to stop the tracker, so that they can finally get away from the New Order and the group. But she's just such a nothing character, because at the end of the day, she's just there. She's kind of sweet, innocent, and stuff like that. She has little cool moments here and there, and then they try to push her with Finn, but of course, you see the next movie, we know this doesn't really matter, and that's really it. She has cool moments, but there's nothing more to her. We just learn a little bit about her, but not enough, and that's what I was disappointed in. I wish we learned more about her just as a character overall. And the final character is, of course, the big bad, being Snoke. Now, Snoke in this movie, I really love Snoke. I like that throughout the movie, he's manipulating, Rey and Kylo, how he's trying to make them get more connected with each other so they can push each other to become stronger in the Force, and trying to convince, Rey to come to the dark side. And he just does so many cool, manipulated moments throughout the film, and I like that he is a moving threat throughout the entire movie. Like, you have multiple characters who are afraid of him, and he feels like this grand villain. Now, the thing I don't like about him is what they do to him in this movie. I'm not going to know what it is, but they do something so outrageous with this character, and it ruins the character to the point where they have to literally do something else in the next movie. They should have just left Snoke alone, and they could have easily had a great final villain, a good final villain. Not the best, but he could have definitely been better. And I wish that we get to learn more about his backstory instead of like a hand-wavy wave we're going to get in the next movie. But overall, I am mixed about this movie. There's parts I really like about this movie, and then there are parts I really don't like about this movie. But I don't hate it like I once did. I just think this is okay movie. It's not the best, it's not the worst, it's just okay. They definitely could have did a lot more with this movie, and if Ryan Johnson would have could just continue J.J. Abrams plot line and then added in small new stuff, he could have easily create probably one of the better Star Wars movie. But overall, I hope you guys like, comment, rate, subscribe as always. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.